2020 was not at all the year we expected it to be. For me, it was supposed to be the culmination of my first 40 years. I had big plans. In fact, I started the year off in Venice, visiting my brother and his family. Little did we know that as we were making our way back to the US, there was something else that was following us home. Within days of arriving home, we started hearing reports about a strange virus that was about to hit the US shores. Having just been in Europe, of course my family was a little concerned, and so we decided to pay attention to everything that was being told to us on the news. And that's when the panic started to set in.
China has more than 200 confirmed cases of coronavirus.
Officials say more than 200 people have now died.
A very serious outbreak, and it already has spread beyond China.
We're not trying to be alarmist. We're not going to overreact.
I just am not a person who can sit by and not do anything. I started to formulate a plan. Originally, I had planned to go ahead and take a massive trip around the country in what would have been an amazing birthday trip to visit the last 8 states that I have not yet seen in my first 40 years. But that was very selfish of me, and I decided that instead of that trip, I would take another very special trip. And in that way, I would be able to show people how to safely travel with this new world situation. And that is how I began the journey of 40, where I decided that I had to take hold of fear and deal with it. And in the process of it, I hoped that I would be able to show everyone else how they too could tackle their fear. And that is how, in the wake of all of the insanity of 2020, Go Marta Go was born. I am thrilled to be able to show you the chronicle of how this journey began, where I decided I had to get on a train and live out a dream and make sure that nothing ever, not even a global pandemic, could stop me from doing that. My gift to you all this Christmas is a chance to see the United States of America through my eyes in a way that isn't commonly done, particularly when you're talking about riding trains from the heartland all the way to the East Coast, all the way back up north, across the country to the West Coast, and then coming back home to Arkansas. It was quite a ride, and believe you me, it's going to take me a couple of segments to show you all of this, but when it was all said and done, I could not think of a better way to take Go Marta Go and give it the send-off that it deserves as we get ready to step out of 2020 and into the unknowns of 2021. May we all do so full of vigor and excitement, and just kick off and kick out the dust of fear and leave it in 2020 where it belongs, because we've got work to do. Okay, so this will be my complete ensemble as I travel, but the purse I will only have out when I need to get in and out of it. Chances are, when I board the train, since I'll only need my phone so I can show my e-ticket, I will have this packed away down inside of the laptop bag, so I only have 2 bags that are out swinging about till I get to my sleeper car. But this bag, this little purse I love, I picked it up in Rome when I was traveling with Dr. Stassi, who recently just went ahead and scaled up her online presence. So I'll see if I can get her to share some of those stories with you guys on my channel later. I love this purse though. I call this my anti-theft purse. So when I was traveling, I did have occasion in Paris where someone tried to pickpocket me, and they got very frustrated because they could not get at my stuff. If you notice here, there's a hidden snap, and then there's this snap as well. So I had that, and then of course there's the inner compartment, and if you have really sensitive things that you don't want people to get to, you can go down into that further zipper pocket too. This is great because I like a hard sunglasses case, and so I had that. But when I needed to quick access something, like I was moving in and out of the airport, I had this section where I could store my passport. And while I was moving about, I would just go ahead and slide my phone in here as well. I would take this over my shoulder so that it was always up against my body. And that way nothing was ever exposed. All of this was locked down tight. And this was the only thing, and it was always up against my body. So when she tried to get at my purse on the train in Paris, it was so ridiculous. She managed to flip this open, but then, flip this open, couldn't get this. And I could feel her little fingers trying to move around on my side, and I went, whack! And she didn't mess with me anymore after that. And so, yeah, so I love this purse. It'll go down inside the laptop bag so people cannot see it. Even further security. And that'll be how I roll when I'm in coach as well. My plan right now, most of the time I'm going to have a sleeper car, but when I do ride in coach, this can easily go underneath my feet, as can this, and then I'll have my purse down inside of this as well. Of course, by the time you guys are watching this, I will be long done with this trip, so anyone who was thinking they were going to get tips on how to come and get me, nah, not quite. But yeah, I like to travel compact and light, and that is how I pack for 30 days on the road, riding Amtrak coast to coast. Let me tell you straight off, I do not like wearing a mask, but I will do it. Oh, this is going to take some discipline. That was very easy. It's very late, so I don't want to be loud in here. So let me put my earpods in real quick. Okay, I'm hoping that y'all will be able to hear. If not, I'll voice over this later. But I was very glad to get out of my mask. This is the first one I'm debuting. So this is Corto's design. Yes, I have designer masks and I love them. And I'm trying to figure out where's the most sensible place for me to store this so it's easy for me to access. So it's really tight in here. I'm just going to show you, like, and I knew this. It feels smaller than what I remembered before, but I was kind of delirious and just really excited last time. It was like 9 years ago. So basically, it's very tight, like you've seen in a bunch of other videos. Like, there's a trash bin down here. The steps to go up to the upper bunk are right here. And I'm going to turn this angle around. Okay, so we're on the move now, and I'm going to stop here because it's late. The train was about an hour and some change late, which really, in the whole span of it, is not bad at all. I was able to sit in the car with my husband. I didn't even try to go into the station because I figured, why do that if I didn't have to? I wasn't checking any bags. So I'm going to go ahead and get situated, kind of follow my plan, get into my really comfy pants. Not that my jeans are uncomfortable, but get in the comfy pants. And I'm going to try to get some sleep, and I should see you guys as we are getting ready to roll into St. Louis or so in the morning.
Well, it is about 6:30 a.m. right now, and I'd guess we're probably about an hour outside of St. Louis and some change. I can really feel that we were an hour late getting out of Little Rock, but it's all good. My bed was ready when I got in to my little cabin, and that was really helpful. And I'm just waiting for the porter to come by and take my breakfast order. I will say that part has been a real letdown because I remember 9 years ago when I rode, like, I got to go to the dining car. I had a full breakfast, and they have a flexible dining menu with continental breakfast options. And the best thing I have going for me is a breakfast sandwich. I'm hoping to let me eat something else too. So here's the menu, new menu with the flexible dining. So here we have continental breakfast options, oatmeal, cereal, yogurt, muffins, breakfast bar, and the breakfast sandwich. That is definitely what I need. And then they also have the entrees on here, which sound pretty tasty. Sound like they're scaled back, for sure. The beef sounds pretty good. I think I'm going to go with the shrimp and lobster sauce, though, today, if I am long enough to be able to order lunch. And then they have the beverages. These are the complimentary, I should say prepaid beverages that you can get throughout the trip. And then they have a bar selection, and they're doing cashless pay only. So you gotta have your card and whatnot. But those are the options they have right there. Pretty decent. Not gonna need those. Definitely gonna need that today. Just to make no mistakes, I'm talking about the coffee. Regular. Quiet hours over. It is officially after 7 o'clock in the morning. And I just had breakfast in the cafe car. The cafe car for my sleeper is like attached. It's right next to us, and so I'm only steps away from my food, which is nice. I don't have to worry about traversing along the train. And I think for this part of it, Little Rock to Chicago, I'm not going to worry about trying to walk the whole distance of the train. I don't really need to. I really want to focus on resting because when I get to Union Station, I'm going to be there. If we get there on time, I'm going to be there for several hours, and I want to make sure I'm not tired. I don't want to be weird when I'm there. I ended up having, like you guys saw earlier, I have more than one bag, so I can't just move about and only have my backpack on. So I had to think about that. I don't want to throw my back out or my shoulder, so I'll think about that. I will say this of breakfast. The breakfast sandwich was underwhelming, but it got the job done for the most part. But this coffee is exceptional. I got black coffee, and I put it in my little tumbler, and it's exceptional. And I thought, I felt better bringing this back to my room so I can just be as comfortable as I want to be, and so I can talk to you guys. I'm also about to call my mama, because I know she's wondering why I haven't called yet. So, all in all, I am excited. I know I'm going to make sure I go and get that lunch in plenty of time so that I can get served before we get off at Chicago. My porter, I saw her. Rita is very nice. And I asked her, I said, can I just leave my bed set up? I did this last time I rode up. I find that it's really comfortable in here with the bed laid out for this particular leg of the trip. And so I'm just going to keep it that way. She said she is going to have to set it up before we get to Chicago, and that's fine. By then I will have popped my jeans back on, I'm sure. And, we can do whatever we gotta, we can do what we gotta do. I'll just probably, I'll let her go and set it up when I go to lunch, actually. That'll work out. Because it'll be close to time when I'm getting off, so, yeah. It's all good. So I guess I will have a little bit while I'll get to show you guys what it looks like when the cabin is set up for seating as opposed to sleeping. through this town. I remember going to the St. Louis Arch with my family. I remember seeing my great aunt Betty Ann, who still lives here. Won't get to see her because we're pausing, but I'm not getting off the train. And St. Louis is also home of Sweet Art Bake Shop, which is a lovely vegan spot that I've been to before and where I purchase art from. And also, St. Louis happens to be the home of Glamazzini, who I follow, who is hilarious. So, yeah, there's a lot of good to think about in St. Louis. A whole lot. Definitely going to be a fresh air break. Y'all laugh with me. I was just thinking I was recording and I was absolutely not recording. So let me tell you about how excited I was again when I moved to Little Rock. See, I grew up in, well, let me take it all the way back. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, which is on the Amtrak line, but my family never used it when I was young, before we moved to Iowa City, Iowa. And Iowa City is not on the Amtrak network. And so that was not something that we would have used then either. Would have been great if we'd had that as an option, because the number of times my family drove from Iowa over to Chicago and down to Georgia was ridiculous. Didn't think about the fact that we could have ridden the train from Chicago, but we were always trying to get there and spend as much time with family and all that, and then get back. And then we moved from Iowa to Fayetteville, Arkansas, which again, not on the Amtrak line, needs to be. In Northwest Arkansas, there is a tourist train that goes to the Boston Mountain to Arkansas, Missouri. I have done that. It was amazing. It was technically my first old-style train ride. And I wish that they had more passenger rail service options in Arkansas. I really do. Y'all are going to hear my mouth about that a lot. Then jumped to college years. I ended up going to college in Jackson, Mississippi. I didn't have a car, and it just didn't occur to me, because Amtrak wasn't in the culture of my life, that I could have been going down to New Orleans. I could have been running up to Chicago. I could have been doing all the things. But, you know, it is what it is. And then fast forward to when I got grown, and I moved to Little Rock, Arkansas for work opportunity. I was like, it's on. I'm going to be riding this thing. It's going to be on like Donkey Kong. And I rode it one time to Chicago 9 years ago for a friend's wedding, and didn't even get to ride back because I got called over on a work assignment. I had to end my vacation early and rent a car and go to Madison, and then I had to fly back. Work flew me back to Arkansas. But the train got in my blood. I was just like, I loved it. It was so much more chill. Everyone was really nice. I was just like, I'm going to do this again. Then I ended up doing a 3-year hitch over in Lubbock, Texas, where, again, no Amtrak. So when the opportunity came to come back home to Little Rock, I had it in my mind. I was like, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to go ahead and use it. So, you guys are going to hear me talk about this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Deb in the cafe car. Our next station stop of St. Louis is a service stop for the Texas Eagle. Once we do arrive in St. Louis, the cafe will be closed briefly for the service stop. If you'd like to get that cup of coffee, that juice, that cinnamon roll before our arrival, now's a good time to carefully make your way through the train to the cafe. Please remember, for your safety and the safety of others, shoes and masks are required at all times on Amtrak trains. The cafe is credit card only. We do apologize for any inconvenience. The cafe will be closing briefly upon our arrival into St. Louis. So if you'd like to get that snack or beverage before we get there, now's a good time to visit the cafe.
I also love the fact that, unlike on a lot of other things, including the airplanes, you can hear the attendants when they get on the intercom. And it's not like overbearing, but you can hear them. I like it. What was the thing? So I said, yeah, I'm not going to make a mistake again. I'm going to use it. So y'all going to hear me talk about my trip that never was, that I ended up having to reschedule, and now I'm doing a mega trip. I originally had planned to do kind of 2 or 3 trips and break them up But that's just not how it worked out because coronavirus and a whole lot of uncertainty. And so I just, held still for a while to make sure everybody knew what was going on. And even now, I know there's some people who are going to be like, "Oh, you're traveling. It's not essential travel." Yeah, it is actually. I haven't seen my family since January, and we're not those kind of people. And then also, I have work things that I need to go ahead and do. So I was like, yeah, Amtrak was very good. They were the best, actually, of public transportation options at telling us how they were working to keep us safe. They showed us videos of how they're cleaning, the measures they were taking to safeguard the food, cafe cars, all the decks, all that kind of thing. So I was like, yes, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do the Amtrak. So here we are now. I'm on the Texas Eagle, and this is the leg that I've been on before, but you guys will see that I'm going to end up having done the entirety of the Texas Eagle before this is all said and done. And I mean the whole thing. The whole thing. Can't wait. Well, I mean, I can wait, but I'm very excited. Can y'all see what I see? Can you see what I see? Oh yeah, it's the arch, the St. Louis Arch. Hopefully I'll be able to get a really good angle on it. Guys, we're pulling in the St. Louis Gateway Station. Okay guys, I'm going to try this very quickly. It's very loud. And I've wandered off where I won't have to have my mask on. But we're in St. Louis at Gateway Station. And there's the proof of it right there. And this is my Amtrak sleeper car that I'm in right now. They're doing a lot of refueling, reloading, and whatnot. And I don't want to wander too far. I know we're going to be down for a number of minutes, but I just really wanted to get some fresh air and stretch my legs. This has not been a bad ride at all. Not at all. I'm trying to remember where I came out so I know where to go back in so I don't get lost. But I also know to keep an eye out for my car attendant. So there are a lot of people right over by mine. So let me give you a different angle. So here's another angle of the Superliner. I'm on the Superliner in a sleepette, and it's fantastic. Everybody's been really nice. Everybody's being respectful of distance and whatnot. And yeah, I'm a train fan. I'm definitely a train fan. I'm not sure if you can see me, but actually up there, one of those portholes is mine because I'm on the upstairs level. And then there's a downstairs level as well. Whew, it's nice to stretch the legs. It was very nice to stretch my legs. One thing I could tell people about is that I think people worry about being closed up in a case. They think about when you're on an airplane and the whole thing of it being pressurized and whatnot. The thing is, first of all, it's not pressurized in a train because you're not up in the air. The other thing is that the air never feels stagnant. Like, you can tell that they are venting air in here from outside as you move along. In fact, I read somewhere that they have technology that works to vent the air out of Amtrak trains every 5 minutes or something like that. Plus, you can walk in between the cars where you've got plenty of fresh air. I love that you can kick the door. I don't know that I'm going to record myself kicking the door because there are plenty of other people who have videos showing you how to do that. Also because I'm very much concentrating on not falling when I walk. Not that I have trouble with balance, but like I don't want to be doing too much and then end up making a scene. Because ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, I think people freak out. They're like, oh, I gotta get off at the fresh air stop. You should definitely get off when you have plenty of time. get air, but mostly stretch your legs, walk around, all that kind of thing. I don't smoke, so a lot of people some people use that for a smoke break. But you don't have to worry about the air feeling musty or contaminated or whatever it is. Like, I've not had that experience. I do like that when we're stopped, it's a little easier to move about, because when you're in motion, you're jostling a little bit and you get adapted to it really well. But if you do have balance challenges, balance and gait challenges, be aware that you'll have to be a little more careful. That's actually where it's helpful that the hallway's a little more narrow, because if you need to brace yourself against the walls, you can when you're moving, as opposed to if it was a really wide hallway where you'd be grabbing at something to try to keep your balance. Let's see. I'm feeling good. I remember why I love this so much, because I'm real chill. I'm very chill. Oh, I'm actually looking forward to lunch. Very much so. And I think I'm just gonna sit back here and chill and try to call my mom again, because she didn't pick up before while I'm in St. Louis. I will say this, it is very true that when you are moving through some of the smaller rural areas, you will not have cell signal, so don't freak out about that. Take it as an opportunity to unplug and not have to worry about what else is going on with everybody else. One thing to know is that you can most definitely be guaranteed that you're going to have somebody's cell service when you do stop at stations like along the way, like St. Louis. That's a chance to go ahead and check in with people. On this line from Little Rock, you're likely to have pretty decent service. You'll have it in Little Rock. You'll have it until you get probably a little up what is Arkansas Highway 67, which runs along close to where the train is. Probably about an hour outside of Little Rock. It might get a little spotty after that. When you get near Jonesboro or Walnut Ridge, you'll pick up some more service again. And then there'll be a bit of a blackout when you're going through the Mark Twain Mountains. And then as you approach St. Louis, once you get about 90 minutes out from St. Louis, you're not going to have much trouble getting back onto the Wi-Fi. It's when you get out of the mountains. Fortunately on our route, unfortunately, it's nighttime anyway. Most of the time people are not obsessing about having a signal. But one day, we may have more rapid, more routes and things like that, and then you will have to be a little more conscious of that. But you're definitely going to be able to make your calls or whatever you need to when you stop at stations and whatnot. That's when I would focus on doing that, and let your people know that's when they should expect to hear from you. Everything's pretty clearly labeled, so you know where you can sit and where you can't sit. And so it's like every other seat and whatnot, so we can do what we need to do. As promised, here's the setup when the bed is put away. So I'm using that wider chair. That's definitely a wider chair than where I am. to store my stuff right now because I prefer to face in the direction I'm going. And then, this is the railroad chair. And there's all this room. It's great. These are the flip-flops I wear while I'm going back and forth. It helps because I don't have to put my sneakers on back. I just realized I didn't show y'all the inside of the closet. There's a coat hook up there, but that's the closet. And so up there is where they store your towels. But there's towels in the showers downstairs too. That's in case you want to wash up. But that closet is extremely narrow. Extremely narrow. Like my laptop bag can fit in there. And my purse. And there's a hanger, of course, so one jacket can go in there too. But there's also a hook there and a hook there where you can hang your jacket as well, or jackets. So I guess you can hang your shirts up in there if you had dress shirts. But I would definitely have a plastic bag with me. Alright, we're going to test this out. Mic check 1 2 1 2. So, I made it to Chicago. I'm in the Great Hall. And there's a heck of a lot of construction going on, so this is interesting. So, we absolutely cannot take off our masks while we're in here, and I figured out I got to just not use my glasses because I can't see if I try to do that and talk. So at least I can vent this way. But there's one view of the Great Hall. I felt like such a dweeb. I asked the person at the desk, but I'd rather ask and get in trouble. I was like, can I get back to the Metropolitan Lounge if I get out here? And she was like, yeah. killing me like I was dumb, but I don't care. I'd rather know than mess up. But I made it. I'm not sure what work is going on here, but it's completely covered up, and of course, it says no exit, so I'm taking it that they really would rather us not go in there. So we just look from a distance. The Burlington room, I think that's what that says. Again, no glasses. This ceiling is insanely beautiful. And then of course, here's the entrance to all trains there. And on the right is the Metropolitan Lounge where I'm headed.
This is now the general boarding announcement for train number 3, the Southwest Chief. This is now the general boarding announcement. Please claim all carry-on bags at this time and see the agent at the front of the Metropolitan Lounge for boarding. Train number 3, the 3 p.m. departure, going to Naperville, New York, Princeton, Galesburg, Fort Madison, Atlanta, City, Garden City, Lamar, Marta, Trinidad, Raton, Las Vegas, Lady, Albuquerque. Please claim all carry-on bags at this time for the boarding of train number 3, the Southwest Chief.
Okay, since I'm dining en suite, I think I'll do this. So I'm on the Capital Limited now, going over to DC, and I earlier got off of the Texas Eagle coming up from Little Rock to Chicago. So now I'm Capital Limited Chicago over to Washington, DC. everything boarded on time. It was wonderful. Again, everyone's being very courteous. I expect that. When I was in the Texas Eagle, as you guys saw, I was able to dine in my, we had a cafe car that was right attached to our sleeper. But when we got to the Capitol Limited, they're not allowing in-room, they're requiring that we eat in our rooms. And so they brought me Sprite. I got some ice for that Sprite. They brought me the beef option because I was worried if I ate that shrimp and lobster sauce again, I was going to literally turn into a shrimp or a lobster or some combination of both. It was so good. They have the really nice, high quality paper napkins. I do miss the cloth and everything, but this is not bad. I did notice that they gave, there's this molded plastic, it almost looks like a 3D printed thing, but it's a molded plastic case that helps hold things in place, which is great because, as you can see, we're jostling around a little bit. So here's my beef. I will take a picture of that later. I don't want to open it until I'm ready to get it. I had the salad earlier. I typically prefer a spinach salad, a more green leafy situation, but this was not bad. And I'm sure they gave me ranch. Yes, they gave me ranch again. It'd be nice to have something else besides ranch, but it's not bad. Oh, they gave me Italian too. Okay, yeah, there we go. There's some salt and some butter down in there. I found I did not need the butter with my bread earlier, and oh yes, I have more soft bread, and they gave me 2, which is awesome. You guys saw earlier that I went and got the brownie before. Now I have the blondie, and they warmed it up, so that's going to be phenomenal. Toffee crunch. And of course, I had a bottle of water when I got in here. I had 2 when I was on the Texas Eagle, so I don't know what that's about. But I know I can request another bottle of water anytime I want to, and I probably will when he comes to pick this up. And then, of course, I delivered it in the bag, which was very, very convenient. I appreciate that. So now it's time for me to get at it. I will let y'all know how it is. It smells wonderful, though. I love soft bread. Oh, so happy. It's kind of funny. I just got up and did my 3 a.m. bathroom break, and we happened to be pulling out of Alliance, Ohio at the time. And it made me think about, I did a lot of my growing up in the Midwest when I lived in Iowa. So I traveled through a lot of these states. Usually Ohio meant visiting my godmother in Cincinnati. But Ohio is also a place where I spent a couple of years living as an adult. In Columbus while I was at the Ohio State University, working on my master's, and Ohio has a lot of memories, let me put it that way, for me. I choose to really hold on to the good memories. Winters in Ohio are like winters unlike anywhere else I've ever experienced in my life. And I loved my public library system in Columbus. I wanted to take it with me. But there's sometimes I forget that I lived in Ohio as an adult. And I mean, there are reasons for that, but it's interesting being back. And it's interesting that I'm passing through Ohio on this part of my trip completely at night. I'll have to look and see whether or not I'm going to cross back through Ohio during daylight time on one of my other legs of my trip later on this month. But I don't know. I'm enjoying the Capitol Limited. It's interesting, I got on at a different time, obviously, for this trip. Getting on, and I guess we boarded about 6:15-ish. And we took off pretty close to on time, around 6:30 p.m.-ish. And to get on, to immediately order my dinner, to have it delivered to my room, to be occupied with eating that, to have my bed switched over pretty quickly after
visiting with a few friends, I will tell you this. Northern Indiana, it surprised me for the amount of connectivity I had on my cellular service. That was impressive. It was pretty strong. And I just floated off to sleep after that. And I'm about to float back into some more sleep. I just wanted to take a second to kind of capture the feeling of this moment and reflect a little bit as I crossed through Ohio, headed to Pennsylvania, and after that, Washington, D.C. So it's about 8:30 in the morning, and I think I'm somewhere in Pennsylvania. I gotta stop and check out something real quick. Will you look at that? Up in the mountains and things. There's very poor service where we are right now as far as cell service. So I'm just enjoying all this and reading, and the breakfast just came, so I thought I'd show you that. It's hard to stop looking at this though. But we're gonna do that. So for breakfast, I went ahead and halfway deployed my table, because I don't need that whole thing. And I wanted there to be room for my knee. My bed is still made up. I'm gonna keep it until closer to lunchtime, which interestingly I found out they don't serve lunch on this one, even though we're supposed to arrive around 1 o'clock. So it's good that I have a planned meetup where I can get to the meet anyway. But I have a muffin. I think that's blueberry. There's some jelly they put along with it, salt and pepper if you need it. Of course, we've got our silverware, and then I have, I guess we call it a double breakfast biscuit or something like that, which I hadn't opened yet. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Ooh-wee. Okay, so that's the idea. So, gonna get into that. Of course, more delicious hand-dried coffee, and had them bring me an orange juice because I had a feeling I was gonna need them. So we're going to my bottle of water, and glad I saved my blondie from yesterday. I was full, so that'll probably be my little snack. I made it to DC. Union Station. Yes, Union Station's still here. Not Penn, that would be New York. Very cool. There are birds aplenty in here, let me tell you. Because it's hot outside for them too. So this is the Grand Hall, I guess. Oh, I've been in here before, but it's been a long, long time. And I'm not even sure how well you'll be able to hear me at this, so let me just go ahead and do a couple of spins, because Hope is coming to pick me up. Yay! It's lunchtime. This is totally a time for people who are used to traveling and figuring out situations, figuring out how to pivot situations. Oh my gosh. So I have this long layover at Washington Union Station in DC, and had lunch with a girlfriend. It was awesome, and I was sitting bored out of my mind after we got done, and I still have like 2 hours less than now actually. And I was like, what can I do? One thing that I got to give Chicago over DC is that Chicago has got a place where you can go ahead and check your bags. DC has some things under normal circumstances that wouldn't be a problem, because there's like all kinds of cool guides. I'll probably drop some of them in the link. Drop some of the links in the description on this video when it's all said and done, or pop it up on the screen. But there's lots of people who give you tips on how you can store your bags when you're in DC, traveling, when you're in between your hotels and whatnot. But in that, we've got this whole coronavirus thing going on, and a lot of the normal tourism places are not open. You know, you don't have those go-tos. And so I thought, what in the heck can I do? I just couldn't sit staring at walls anymore. Plus, when you're inside of the building, you got to be masked up, which I totally believe in. Wear your mask. But it is more than a notion to wear a mask inside of a station for hours upon hours upon hours while you're waiting on a connection, be it bus or whatever, bus, train, whatever. And so I was like, okay, let's see if we can't find some place to get to where there'll be no people, so you can go ahead and be a little freer, because I gotta breathe. I noticed something about my mask. My masks are amazing, but when I'm wearing them for long periods of time, it can be a little problematic, because it's harder for the airflow to get in, and I felt myself kind of getting on the verge of hyperventilating, especially when I was moving about quickly. So one thing I can tell people is that I've got several different kinds of masks, and one thing I strongly recommend is that you go ahead and get some that are more of the t-shirt design, and some that are the double lined, and maybe even look into getting some that have the vents like people who normally would wear who have allergies. Because you may need to switch out your mask. Masks can get wet, and when they get wet, it's even harder to breathe in them, because you know you're spitting naturally, especially as you're trying to talk loudly so people can hear you. Plus, the climates can be different. It is hot. It is hot in the district right now. It's been hot everywhere I've gone because it's summer. Duh. So you want to have multiple masks. I have multiple masks, and I have them in a special pouch, so that it's easy for me to rotate them. And once I've worn them pretty seriously, I move them into another section until I can go ahead and clean them. All of mine are washable masks. Okay, what's next? So what I figured out how to do was to come up to the top level of the parking deck. It's warm, but it's not so warm that I'm super uncomfortable, and there's a gorgeous wind going on, and so there are very few people up here now. Okay, you gotta be careful with this stuff. It is full light of day, as y'all can see, and I am being very situationally aware up here because I don't want no nonsense. But one of the benefits of being up here is that I'm seeing views of DC that are pretty cool. For example, if you look back over in that direction, you'll see a little thing called the Washington Monument. And I think I'm gonna go get a little closer into that, but I wanted to pause for a second because, for one, I'm starting to feel the weight of my pack. You guys have seen earlier in the series that I am traveling with just a backpack and a laptop bag, and I did give my feet some break to breathe, so I was wearing my flip-flops a little bit. But as I know, I needed my sneakers again, so I went ahead and put my socks and my sneakers back on. Just better to walk around in, less chance of twisting your ankle when you've got to move quickly, and when you're going up and down stairs than when you're wearing flip-flops or sandals. And so I went ahead and did that. But let's see if I can't get a little bit better angle on some of these flags and some of these monuments and whatnot. So be right back with you. Okay, I'm really going to this on this one, taking a risk. So one of my favorite bloggers, Will Edmond, out of Atlanta, he went around Atlanta doing all kinds of cool places where you can get an Instagram and whatnot. I bet you he hasn't been to DC, and I bet you he hasn't done this one yet. So yeah, I'm getting a heck of a angle from the top of a parking deck because I'm bored. Waiting on a connection from DC down to Atlanta to go see my family during a time of Corona. And what better thing to do than to find interesting places to go ahead and take pictures and video, right? So wandered, found a space. It is totally empty up here. And my mom was gonna fuss at me when she sees this. If she sees this, she probably will. She watches my YouTube channel. But I thought I'd do a little something for the people. Get a little something that you probably haven't seen before in the world of YouTube. So don't say I don't go to this event. I literally just had to crawl. I'm short, y'all. I had to crawl up on one of those things and then hold on and avoid pigeon poop in the process of that. And yeah, I'm probably gonna go back down now, but I had some time to kill. This is my stuff. DC, I need you guys to go ahead and get a check-in like Chicago Union Station. You need it. You need it. We need a place to go ahead and check our stuff in case the museums are closed. So just a suggestion, and I will go ahead and make that in the formal way as well. But yeah, I just want to do that real quick. Gosh, there are a lot of U.S. flags up here. Whole lot of them. I'll make sure I show you guys panorama from up here too, just so you can see. But yeah, that was kind of fun.
Everything I see is when I say right here and that's it. Look at how it's up. If it don't work, I just see that right here, right there. I walk on. I talk to you. I talk to you.
Arriving in Atlanta was a welcome relief. This was the portion of the trip where I was getting ready to be reunited with my family. But before I found them, I was shocked how small the Peachtree station seemed to be, and I really do hope Atlanta plans on expanding it, because rail is a great way for Atlanta to really capitalize on getting more visitors in and out of the city, especially because of the traffic considerations. One thing you might want to note is if you are going to go to Atlanta on the Amtrak, the parking situation is a little complicated. So the parking is a little away from the building, and you don't want to try to pull right up on the front of the train station because it is very congested. So this sign, if you follow it, it'll show you an overflow parking lot. That is your best bet. And the best part of being in Atlanta was I got to see my parents, who I had not seen in 6 months. It was amazing, and I got to spend 2 quality weeks with them. Part of the strategy for this trip was to make sure that I mitigated my risk for encountering coronavirus. And you may have noticed that I only was in coach one time on the way to Atlanta, and I took a direct route to Atlanta because my parents are in the age category where you really have to be careful. So we made sure that we'd isolated. I didn't go running around a whole bunch of places, and of course masks and social distancing were employed. When I left Atlanta, I did opt to go ahead and ride one segment of my trip in coach from Atlanta to Charlotte. That was not the best idea, and in future I will probably make sure I ride a sleeper car when I am traveling on the Crescent. It's just a much more pleasant experience that I found in my travels. Unlike the Texas Eagle, which is a superliner, which means it has 2 stories, the Crescent is a view liner because it runs through New York Station. And so I will tell you a little tip about this. If you're traveling by yourself and you're in a sleepette, I recommend you leave the bottom set up for day and sleep on the top bunk, because it'll help you with using your toilet. On this trip, I did not plan to spend time in Philadelphia, and instead had a friend pick me up so that we could cross over to New Jersey. I'd never spent any time in South Jersey, and there was a very important thing that needed to happen here. I needed some saltwater therapy. And this occasion was a special one. My friend introduced me to a beautiful beach I'd never seen before, and we basically had it to ourselves. It was lovely. It was very timely. After riding trains as long as I had, it was really nice to make sure I had these planned stops where I could be on solid ground and just enjoy the experience. But I'm way too much of a rail fan not to give you a couple of inside shots of 30th Street Station in Philadelphia.
That would not have been cute to be walking by when that happened.
Bro, if you ain't know that train 16. You thought trains were machines? No, bro, they animals. They like dinosaurs. They big old ancient animals.
The ride from Philadelphia on the Crescent to Chicago is about 26 and a half hours. So I decided that I would split it up, and I did the first half in coach and the second half in the sleeper car, basically when night came upon us. It was an amazingly relaxing way to go ahead and end this portion of my trip. Arriving in Union Station, I was very glad I'd also planned to stay overnight, and so once I arrived, I went ahead and made my way over to Naperville and got a good night's rest. And it's from Naperville that I will start episode 2 of 40. The views that I got on this trip really knocked me out, and I can't wait to show you what it looked like from my perspective as I made my way from Chicago on the Southwest Chief all the way over to Los Angeles, seeing the whole of the Southwest. And then eventually, after spending a couple of really key down days in Los Angeles, I also, in episode 3, will show you how I made my way back to Arkansas. It was a stunning, stunning way to go ahead and do this trip. And if you haven't noticed, this trip took place in the summer months, so you're going to see some amazing weather that if I had ordered it, it couldn't have been better. I am so thrilled that you guys have made it this far in the journey, and I hope you'll go ahead and make it to the very end. Like I said, episode 2 is going to show you the stretch from Chicago over to Los Angeles, and then episode 3 I will show you how I made my way back from California home. I'm also happy to tell you, in case you were wondering, I was able to do all of this very safely, and I want to show you how you can do it too. Thanks for watching. Be sure to come back now.